welcome back to our quest for compounds. We are at it again. Today we're going to be working on the hot pipe. So, the hot pipe obviously goes between these two turbochargers, the turbine housing. It flows all those hot pixies that spin turbines, and witchcraft happens, and we go faster, or we go the same speed, cooler, more cleanly, and more efficiently while towing. That is the primary reason. Not primary, I mean, whatever. Compounds are awesome. We're doing them, that's why. Okay, that sums up the need for them. Now, there are two primary methods of making a hot pipe, neither of which we're going to use, but we'll go over them really quick. One is to take a piece of pre-bent tubing, cut out your section, weld it in, whether that be exhaust pipe, or you can get these weldable dudes that are 90 degrees. You can get a long radius and short radius, and they're cast, and they're like they come in a couple different Schedule 40, Schedule 11, can't remember all the details, but you can get those, and those work really well. It's a pretty, if you want to do it right, that's the method you'd use. It works really well, it looks really good. But that's not what we're doing, because they are quite proud of them. So, the second method is to take like a piece of exhaust tubing. This is a drive shaft, ignore that. This is a piece of exhaust tubing, and cut pie pieces out of it, and then weld those together to make your bends. But in order to do that and not have any leaks, you have to be a pretty good welder, because if I were to do it, I know I'd have leaks, and I'd spend my life chasing those bloody leaks. And it's just because it's also on the exhaust, so it's going to take a little bit more stress than an intake pipe would. I kind of want something beefier than exhaust pipe anyway, and I wouldn't want to, it's just kind of a bugger. I don't want to have to play around with that. So I came up with another method, because I got thinking, when you do that, you're taking a piece of tubing and you're making a bend out of it. What if you were to take a bend and make a piece of tubing out of it? Okay? So the idea is, instead of welding all these circles together to make the bend, we take pieces of 1/8 inch plate or sheet. I don't know what point it goes from plate to sheet. I think it's called plate. Take 1/8 inch plate and bend it into the shape we want, something like that. So that's the bottom one, and then I don't know which side's the top. Let's just whatever. And then the top one. This is so hokey, guys. Okay, and then you put your center one in, and that makes yourself a piece of tubing. And you can do a little bit of shaping and stuff to make it nice and round there, because you do have a square end over here. So even if this was perfectly square, as long as you can round it up here, that wouldn't be that bad. But we're going to play around with trying to round it up a little bit, trying to make it nice transition from a nice round hole to a larger square hole. I think this is going to work really well. The only problem I can think of is how to shape the steel, because trying to bend this guy, look, not only like this, you can see that like that, but also like this at the same time on 1/8 inch plate, that's a bit of a task. So we'll have to make a couple jigs. I've got an idea. This is what we got. We got these two pieces of steel tubing. This one has an outer diameter about 2 3/4 inches, and this one's got an inner diameter about 3 inches. Okay, we got this one is concave and this one is convex. So when you take a piece of sheet or plate or whatever it is, and you put it between and you press them together, it should make a pipe, the outside of our pipe, that looks like this. Okay. And we also made a second set, but it is the exact opposite. This guy here is convex, you can see, he goes like that. And this guy is concave, where it goes like that. So you press those together, and that'll make our inner bit, okay? I don't know how it's going to work. I think it'll be a pretty interesting test, personally. Okay, so let us start fabricating. So any Joe Blow will tell you that cardboard is easier to fabricate than steel. So we're going to use this for advantage and fabricate our setup, figure out exactly what size we're wanting to run everything with cardboard, and then we will do with steel. We're going to have him in like this and then bend him. So we're going to kind of cut this out. Okay, let's get a general idea how we're going to actually fit. Let's put a bit of a bend in there because I think it's going to be a little easier if we got a bend on him. So bend him. Okay, we're going to go with a nice straight line from this point to that point. A nice straight line is an approximate. So we're going to go about like something like that, but we'll make that straight. Cut that off like that. And one thing to keep in mind is I don't want to come at this guy straight because the flange is actually offset slightly. So in order to come at, if you look at like the actual piping in there, if you look at what straight is there, it's about like that. Okay, or let me get something straight. That's about what he's like. Like that. So that's the angle we want to go in at. That, guys, looks pretty close. My man. That, I think, looks pretty good. This is what we're planning on doing, okay? Something like that. So we got a nice even bend. It comes in. Now that, obviously, that top one's a bit long. They're both a bit long, so it kind of swoops way outwards and then comes back in. We'll shorten them up to where he's actually more like that. They'll both be like that, and so it'll be a little more smooth. But I want to make sure I don't cut them short. I'd rather cut them long. That way I have a little bit of flexibility and whatnot. Okay, well, here is the setup. We got a plate. Now, as far as this guy goes, that piece of 3-inch happens to fit exactly into this, the plates that come with the shop press. So that way it'll prevent that guy from like spreading out while we're trying to clamp onto him. And then we got this guy here to help, support this guy instead of just pushing on a couple places where this guy would. We'll kind of help even out that force so that we don't bend it as well. We got that line in it, so we'll have to make sure we bend the center nice and centered in the center. That makes sense. A bit of a bend. I mean, that's looking like a pipe, but that's hardly resembles the outside of our bend, so we got a bit of go still apparently. Well, guys, I think that's about as far as we're going to get today because I got other things I need to do, and this guy looks like he's failing. So we're going to have to do some thinkering and hankering and majiggering. I'll probably mess around with something tonight, try to figure out what I'm going to do exactly tonight, and tomorrow morning we will hopefully be right back at it, where we can really start to crank out some tubing.
We ended up using it's an old T. It's a 1.5-inch T, and then we cut the ends off, and then boxed it in. It worked out really well. I think it worked out really well. Then we drilled some holes in it, so we got some wire, so it's holding it up. So that way it moves with the jack. It works really. I think it's gonna work really well. It seems pretty beefy.
See if this works, okay, guys? I hope it works. Ladies and gentlemen, we're almost at a 90. I'm not quite almost, but pretty close. I know I'm gonna get all dirty hands now, but well, what else is new? Surely you guys haven't gone through this whole series and said, "Oh man, that guy likes to keep his hands clean." Look at that, guys. I think that oil helps in making a smoother bend. Either that or just looks smoother because of the oil. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So guys, that is about what we were trying to achieve. I think it looks pretty good. I'll have to do a little bit just figuring and sitting there and doing stuff. Check it out, okay? It comes out straight, it kind of bends over a little bit, and then goes straight in. Okay, something like that. I think that looks pretty good, guys. Now we're going to work on the inner radius, but we've got to replace the teeth that were in him, which are these guys, that make the outer radius, with the new jaws, I guess would be the term, that make the inner radius. Hopefully I got my terminology right there. Anyway, let's do it. Check it out. That is awesome. Okay guys, moment of truth. How does it sit? We are looking pretty good up top. Oh, we're looking pretty good. That is pretty close. I like how that looks too. I don't want to do too much more until we bend up these corners the way we're going to bend them up. People always say that the whole sets are like an anvil of a turbo. Whole set turbines, housings. Well, there you have it. Myth confirmed. New, never used, only slightly rusty turbine available. I would like to thank Wholeset for sponsoring the anvil for this compound build. Very nice of them. Yeah, oops. So we're going to set our dude in place the way we want him. Okay. So then instead of back, knock it out. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what a hot pipe's going to look like. Sort of. Minus the cardboard bit. It's going to be steel. We are pretty close. Nothing really super close, but we're pretty close. We are really happy with that fit. Check it out, guys. I mean, that's just pressed in. I might tweak it a little bit before I actually weld it, but yeah, he's looking pretty good. Like that. We're gonna cut this out right here. Well, guys, I don't know why, but this guy took a lot of finagling to get about right. I think we're just about there. We bolted it back to the turbo. That way I know if there's any flexing, like if any, it's going to be held like it's supposed to be when we're welding it. There might have been a small difference, so I don't know. But you can kind of see in there was we stuffed that full of rags. That way I could kind of push on it and it wouldn't fall through, because that was the problem I was having, is it was just pushing through and it's aggravating. So filled it full of rags. That really seemed to fix it. We're gonna give it a shot. We're trying to tack weld it here. It's kind of a difficult to do because you can't really get in there to hold it. You have to, well, it's a little tricky. But we're gonna give it a shot. We're gonna give it a tack weld. And hopefully that we're pretty happy with it once we pull it off and look at it. There we got our rags. They worked the charm. Not gonna complain about that. Well, guys, here it is. Well, it's actually quite ugly when you have it off the engine, to be honest. But you put him on the engine, and that guy looks pretty stinking good. I am really, really excited about this. I think, yeah, it's pretty much decided with this racing stripe pattern. Silver on the sides, black on the inside and outside, and I'm thinking silver on the flanges. I don't know really for sure what's going to look the best, but if you guys want to give your thoughts, how should we paint this thing? I say, let's just do it. I think that's going to look really good. Having it like all one color, that's just boring. That's no need to do that. We're gonna make this guy fancy. So love to hear your thoughts there. Next step is going to be welding it up. Don't know when we're going to get to it, but we will do it, and that is going to look really, really good. Guys, I am rather cross. We just got nice and early, did some video editing. It was going super well, getting some nice progress made, until I got to this place where I wanted to insert the shots of us welding up the hot pipe, and then the end scene. I couldn't find them. I searched the whole hard drive. I searched m.mp4 across the whole hard drive, across multiple hard drives. Couldn't find the files. So, one of two things happened. Either my hard drive ate it, or I never turned on the camera. And I feel quite an idiot for that one, because, I mean, you're sitting here staring at the camera. It's the end scene, so, but I'm welding, I'm staring, I didn't even notice that the camera wasn't even rolling. That is so, man, I feel like an idiot. But, I digress. We did weld up the hot pipe. It turned out fairly well. Rather unique looking. You're not going to find a hot pipe that looks quite like that. At least, I haven't yet. So, the welder was working very well. The helmet smartened right up after swapping out the batteries. Really happy about that. It boogered the welds a little bit here and there. That's mostly where I just climbed on top of my other weld a little bit, just because. Really, I mean, can't complain too much. I think it turned out pretty good. So, we are making progress. You guys are awesome. Keep crunching.